What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Yankees Avenue Show on the Yankees Avenue YouTube channel. As usual, I'm Patrick Hennessy. That's Dan Rourke. Dan, how we doing today?
Long time no see, Patrick. It's been a little bit. We haven't been here for a couple series, some scheduling conflicts, technical difficulties. No technical difficulties, really. But yo, we just noticed my microphone must have gotten like a sledgehammer to the top part of it because it has a slight dent in it. That aside, I'm doing good, man. It's a little bit rainy. The Yankees suck, but we have a big show planned, and I'm pumped to see you. How you doing?
Yeah, no, life's good. Can't complain. We haven't seen the sun in like 3, 4 weeks. The Yankees are officially eliminated from postseason contention because it's fine because the team south of the border in Philly, they're gonna be in the playoffs. It's gonna be great. We have a lot to talk about today. What?
I'm so over this. We may have a topic five behind the curtains. Me and Pat usually go in without a topic five set. I think we have ours now because you tweeted something over the weekend when the Yankees got eliminated. That was quite suspect that I believe we need to talk
We
about. The
could talk
Pat,
about it.
the Pat to Philly era, guys. That saga is going to continue today because it's unacceptable. We have plenty of
We'll
that.
we'll talk about it. But we have a lot of fun stuff to talk about today. Before we get into that, I want to give a huge shout out to our sponsor, FOCO, FOCO. I got my friendship bracelet on. Oh, that was interesting. I got it on. We both got it on. We'll show you
Like a
guys some other
maraca.
stuff later. Yeah, no, it's nice, Dan.
But I will say, yo, no, for real. I'm wearing these every single day. It might be my favorite. Might be my favorite Foco product yet. Because I do not
Same.
leave the house. Same way I throw on my Apple Watch. I throw on my friendship bracelet from Foco. And of course, we'll talk more about this later, but they got slippers too that you could call Crocs with the Yankee logo on it. We're
Okay.
gonna have a big
Very.
show today, Pat. Big
Yeah.
show. We got a
No.
lot to talk about.
Some are calling it the biggest show of the season. So let's get right into topic number
Mm.
one and let's address the elephant in the room. The Yankees are officially eliminated from postseason contention. The date is September 26th, and the Yankees are not in the playoffs. And it's kind of, it hurts a little bit because you keep seeing like all those things on Twitter, like 1 year ago today, 3 years ago today, 2 years ago today, where the Yankees are like celebrating postseason berths.
For
And we're
real.
not getting that this year. And now, I guess, since this is the first time the Yankees haven't made the postseason of this core, first time since 2016, I guess we really have to reflect on the season as a whole. I mean, I guess we've been reflecting on the season entirely as it's kind of gone on, right? And we
Mm.
knew this was going to be the Yankees' fate for quite a while now. So it's
Yeah.
not much of a shock. And anybody who's like saddened by this news is kind of just ignorant. But if we had to pinpoint the main reason why the Yankees missed the playoffs this year, what would you point it at?
I mean, obviously there's a bunch of different reasons you can go with. They suck. But no, I would say here's where I would say the main fault was this year. They expected everything to go perfectly right, but if it didn't, they were screwed. And that's what happened. The second Giancarlo Stanton goes down with injury, the second Aaron Judge goes down with injury, or Anthony Rizzo gets banged up with a concussion, hitting Fernando Tatis's ass. You have Harrison Bader batting fifth. You have Jake Bauers batting fourth. You have a lineup that, and hell, you can even go to opening day when things were going right. This is what's crazy. Who was our seventh hitter, Pat? Oswaldo Cabrera.
Yeah.
Oswaldo Cabrera was the Yankees' seventh hitter, playing left field as our starting guy out there. Rotation was great. Nobody could have expected the injuries or just, the way things fell apart there. I'm not going to put blame on the pitching. They really did suffer some bad luck, at least with the starting staff they had intact and the bullpen. But even with that, the depth on that end worked a little bit better. I mean, Johnny Brito, Randy Vasquez, and obviously Domingo Herman. He wasn't in the original starting five, but he stepped up when he was around. The depth that they had was not suitable to sustain any sort of injuries. And this team is a team that was going to have injuries. And that's exactly what happened. Am I blaming injuries? No. But in terms of not making the playoffs, that probably is the reason. Now, you could throw all that aside because even going into this year, when we had like aspirations of, okay, this team, hopefully, like even you probably had the Yankees as like division favorites, right? Or like you thought they're going to win the division.
Yeah.
Even with that, Pat, me and you knew this team was not good enough to win the World Series. We knew getting Carlos Rodon, that doesn't substantially put you over the top over the Houston Astros. It just doesn't. It may slightly even the playing field, but I don't think any Yankee fan looked at the starting rotation as the fault that led to why we got swept last year. No, it was the offense and many factors as well, but overall it was the offense. And they did nothing to address it. They didn't get any depth. They didn't get a starting left fielder. They didn't add really any big bopper. They just ran it back with the same old crew, which, yeah, sure. If everything went well, Rizzo doesn't get hurt, Judge again doesn't get hurt, Stanton, you probably do make the playoffs, I think. You sneak in as a wildcard team, not in the AL East. But no matter what, the Yankees got swept by the Houston Astros last year in 4 games. That's how that works. And they decided to pretty much run it back with the addition of Carlos Rodon. And what happened? They fell flat on their face. This is the floor of what the season could have been. But I think hitting this floor in hindsight was just as equally possible as hitting the ceiling they hoped they would hit, which of course they did. So they made their bed and now they got to lie in it. I mean, like you said, it's not anything new. We've known this for quite some time that we weren't going to make the playoffs. And it does suck seeing like a year ago today. You know, I posted on Yankees Avenue September 20th of the Judge 60th home run anniversary. And of course, you know, Stanton hit the walk-off grand slam. It's crazy how things can change in a year. Vibes around this time last season were pretty damn high. And here we are, bro. First time since 2016. Basically, first time in the Judge era is what I'll say, because, you know, that was his debut season, but he was hurt and obviously wasn't like a staple in the lineup. The first time in the Judge era, first time in the Boone era that we're missing the playoffs. And you just hope that it's going to lead to crazy change in the offseason.
Yeah. No, I think you really hit the nail on the head. Congrats to you there, Dan. That was a great little monologue. And yeah, I couldn't agree more. I guess to kind of just expand on that, I think the main reason the Yankees really missed the playoffs this year was kind of just that lack of urgency, the lack of urgency that we've seen on the field and off the field from this team for quite a few years now. They came into the season kind of playing with house money, kind of with the expectation that we're the New York Yankees and we could throw anybody we want on the field and they will perform at the level to where we're going to win the division every single year and just have a playoff spot in lock. Like, even if everything seems to go wrong, like it did in 2021, for example, we're still going to make a wild card spot and we're still going to get a shot at it. And I think that's maybe a little bit of arrogance that they went into this season with. They're like, yo, we stacked up the rotation. The offense might have to score 2 runs a game and we'll win. But I think they didn't take into account the worst case scenario possibilities. And like you said, they went into the season thinking that everything was going to go right. And that's just not realistic at all, especially when you look at the past few years and injuries and the guys who you're relying on who aging and have injury past, like guys like Harrison Bader or DJ LeMahieu or Giancarlo Stanton or whatever the case may be. I just think it was complete ignorance. And what is that called? When negligence? A parent, yes, negligence, bro. It was complete negligence to come into the season and not improve the offense. Because like you said, a lack of offense was the reason the Yankees got swept by the Astros last year. Like, sure, the starting pitching improved with Rodon, but it wasn't necessarily an area that you had to improve as much as you had to improve the offense. They did nothing. We're hopeful by the time the trade deadline came around, there would be someone available that could boost the Yankees offense a little bit. But the problem was, by the time the trade deadline came around this year, we were practically we weren't out of it, but we were trending in a really, really poor direction to the point where the Yankees decided to just sit back and do nothing. They didn't sell, they didn't buy, they didn't do anything. And yeah, bro, you look at the season as a whole and complete and utter failure. And I don't know what's going to change coming into this offseason. Obviously, there's a lot of things on the table. Obviously, that there's a lot of things that can happen. But based on what we saw last year, I'm not hopeful that we're going to see any sort of substantial change.
I am hopeful that the first thing I can go back to is, outside of after 2016, which was different because, you had the baby bombers come up and it was still kind of that transition period. When they missed the playoffs, like after 2008 or after 2013, they typically do react with a large spending spree. Now, the difference here is the free agents this offseason don't really call for a large spending spree. I mean, you have, of course, Ohtani, which I don't know. I get the sense they're not going to be too involved in just with him, because I feel like he may still get a big bag. Well, that's a conversation for another day. But you have Ohtani, and then the next guy up is, you have Bellinger. And then Aaron Nola? The pitching or the free agent market this year isn't anything crazy.
Well, no, there's that report that came out that the Padres, which is something that we talked about.
Right. I'm going to get into that.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm just saying more so there's no clear okay, go spend $500 million that they normally do. You kind of got to get creative with it, if you will. The Soto thing we definitely can talk about because that's interesting. Yes, the Padres have said they want to lower the payroll to around $200 million, which is something we've talked about a lot in the past month or so. Getting Juan Soto is not just some pipe dream. It's a legitimate possibility that in a likelihood he'll be on the trade market, and the Yankees, there's no reason why they shouldn't be involved. They have the prospect capital to do so. Many teams aren't going to want to get Soto because while he's not a free agent yet, he's entering his final year arbitration. Dude might be catching north of 20 mil, maybe close to 30. The Yankees obviously can take that money on. They have the prospects to do it. Go get Juan Soto, extend him for 10 years. Anyways, Internally, though, on this roster, what we have right now that has to be fixed, Giancarlo Stanton. Good God. Because the Yankees are going to go into next year with hopefully not him as your cleanup hitter, but he's going to have some sort of he'll be an everyday player still. He's going to be their DH more likely than not. He's a factor that you have to get right. They can't hit fastballs. Great article put out by Chris over at The Athletic. And, a lot of people have talked about this, but he was pointing out, and it's very true, that the Yankees can't hit fastballs. They're aging hitters, whether it's Stanton, Rizzo. Granted, he had the head thing, so maybe he'll come back and be better. But DJ LeMahieu, they can't hit fastballs. Their overall slash line of those three guys, who are pretty much the big boppers in the lineup besides Judge, sub 600, sub 700 against fastballs this year, which is something that obviously just cannot happen. If you can't hit a fastball, you just can't hit in the big league. Simple as that. So they got to get that right this offseason. Shout out my boy Ryan Garcia. I agree with him so hard on the fact that they got to send them to Driveline, which I don't know too much all about Driveline, but I know the Dodgers did it last year with Max Muncy. Somebody else as well, where pretty much you take your aging player, your veteran player that can't hit a fastball anymore, send them to this little facility. They work on bat speed with them. And, of course, those guys had bounce back years. You need to have, if you're going to have them on the roster, Stanton has to have a bounce back season next year, or we're entirely screwed. Or you need to dump the dude. Because, I know we love him, but holy crap, has his season gone? I may have to pull up the stats real quick just to fully, kind of grasp where he's at. But, Giancarlo Stanton had a horrible year. And while that's something the Yankees couldn't have predicted per se, I'm not going to put blame on that because he has to be better than this. In the end, next year we'll be going into year 7, his age 34 season. Oh my God. 189 average, 273 OBP, 692 OPS. You can't be going into next year with Stanton as your cleanup hitter. That's the main thing. So bottom line is overall, and this goes back to the Soto thing, you have to improve this lineup. You have to.
Yeah.
I trust them for the most part on the pitching end of things, and I would like to think they'll get Yamamoto, which could give you a nice little rotation of, say, you have Cole, Rodon, Yamamoto, King, Schmidt, Nestor's in there as well. He still freaks me out with the shoulder injury. I feel like it's going to blow at any point. And then Hermana's under control as well. So pitching, I trust them. Bullpen, they'll figure out. But yeah, man. In the end, if there's one thing, it's the lineup issue that went south. You got to fix the lineup.
Yeah. But that's why I say, going into next season, I don't have that much hope, because I still think that they're going to go into 2024 relying on 3 guys that were major question marks this year, and that's DJ, Stanton, Rizzo. I view those 3 as kind of just the damn, this could be really bad next year. Or if these guys all have bounce back seasons, which is a lot to count on, then you're looking at a really good lineup. But I just think it's so unrealistic to look at DJ, Stanton, Rizzo, and be like, these are 3 guys that are going to be key pieces of the lineup in 2024. I just don't see it happening. So then that's why you have to go out and get a Soto, or go out and it's just difficult because you're not replacing these guys. You know what I mean? They're going to be staples in the Yankees lineup next year, whether we like it or not. I think the only thing that comes down to is maybe halfway through the season, if they're really, really bad, then they get replaced. But I just can't see a scenario where those 3 guys aren't starting every day next year.
Dude, no, I'm totally with you. And I think if I were to have a very early season outlook for next year for those 3 guys, Rizzo, I am most comfortable with being okay, that was some weird aberration shit. That was an outlier. He's your first baseman. Also, there's not too many options to go out and get. Rizzo's your first baseman. I'm cool with that. DJ, I would very much like if the Yankees were to go out and sign a Heimer Candelario, have him play third base, and then DJ's kind of that rover role we talked about a few weeks ago, or what he was originally supposed to be in 2019. I could see him putting up a 750 OPS and being a nice solid piece off the bench, which the Yankees talked about it at length before. The great teams of the 90s and pretty much all their great teams, they start with a great bench. And DJ LeMahieu off the bench is much better than him starting at third base. Giancarlo Stanton, though, I think you have to go into next year, not necessarily assuming, but accepting a very large possibility that he might just be this bad. Hopefully not this bad, but are you getting 20? I don't know if 2021 Stanton is attainable anymore. He had a 870 OPS that year with 35 homers. I think now, and this is coming off just how bad he's looking, so I'm definitely in the floor of how negative I'm thinking regarding his play, but he might just be a 750, at best 775 OPS guy if he can. I don't know. I'm starting to lose faith, a little bit of faith in Stan.
I'm not.
I just am.
Bro, people think I'm crazy, but I'm still on the ship that I think Stan's gonna have a bounce back year next year. And am I 1,000% certain on that? No. But I do think that there's a very good chance that we could see Giancarlo Stanton come back next year. And if he's healthy, which is a big if, 800 OPS. And I think
Sure,
that,
but you can't bank on it, I don't think. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you
no,
off.
no,
That's
no,
the only thing. I don't think you can bank on it.
you can't bank on it by any means, but I can't sit here and say that he's completely washed after this year. I'm gonna stand by
Fair.
this because if he comes out next season and he puts up these same numbers, like we're talking sub 700 OPS through a substantial part of the season, yeah, I'll be like, I've lost faith in Giancarlo Stanton, but I can't do it just yet.
I hear you. No, I mean, listen, I acknowledge the possibility, and I still like to think. I mean, I have to think that like an 800 OPS is in there again somewhere. But I will be like borderline devastated if he's batting cleanup next year. And that's once again, that's not his fault. Even
To
this
start the
year's
season,
side,
I wouldn't be
it's
mad about it.
ah, or not just clean. It's just more so like you got to start formulating a plan of like the next era of this lineup. And we're now in going to year 7. Like, did we really expect Stanton? And
Or
this is
even
me kind of
batting
giving a
fifth.
benefit. Yeah, okay. I mean, 5th is a little bit better, but it's even that, it's you have to have a backup plan in place, accept the possibility that there is a chance this might be who Stanton is. Well, yeah, sure, that 800 OPS might still be in there, but yeah, I don't know, man. It's just bottom line is they have to add externally, but internally they really got to fix at least. You got to hope 2 of the 3 are okay if they're going to be starting every day. Real
Yeah.
quick, I'll give you my little like off season what I would do: sign Yamamoto, sign or acquire Juan Soto via trade and extend him. I would
What's the
sign
extension, by the way?
400 mil, right? I mean, so you get him
10
for next
plus
year and he'll
years.
be
Yeah.
26. Yeah, I mean, I think it's at least Judge's deal. So at the very least, you assume another Judge deal, at least 360. Got Juan Soto. I would sign to get you by, and also, you don't know exactly what Dominguez is going to be when he comes back. I don't want to say take a flyer. He's a legitimate player. Like Kevin Kiermaier's solid. Still has really good defense. Has hit well this year. They're not obviously going to like blow your socks off or nothing, but like to be a serviceable piece, at least to get you by until Jason comes back, and a little bit of a safety blanket if Jason isn't good, because he's still a developing prospect. We only saw him play like 10 games. I'd sign Kevin Kiermaier. Best case, Jason is amazing, comes back, steals a job back, and there you go, another solid piece off the bench. And then I would also sign, I would try to sign Heimer Candelario. So Yamamoto, Candelario, Quart Soto, sign Kiermaier. That's like my big 4, which is 2 free agents. Well, 3 free agents, one being the posting from Japan, and then your big
Yeah.
move,
No,
Soto.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm happy you brought up Kiermaier because like that was kind of a few days ago, but
Mm-hmm.
it was the report that came out. I read the article. It didn't really seem to mention too much specifically about the Yankees. I think they
Yeah.
asked them more so about like playing in the AL East or whatever, but it did bring up the idea of Kevin Kiermaier to the Yankees in the offseason because I think it just makes so much sense. A lot of people pissing on it, but I'm in the boat where, he's basically a fill-in until Dominguez comes back.
Right.
Hopefully June, maybe July. And if Kiermaier could give you what, 4 healthy months, we're looking at a guy who could give you above average defense. And with the bat, he's having one of his best offensive years this year.
Yeah.
Put him in Yankee Stadium. We know he rakes there. I think that Kiermaier is a solid fit. And anybody who's like crying about it might just not understand the current scope of what the Yankees have.
Yeah, and a lot of people, when they complain about it, like, oh, it's just another Harrison Bader. Well, first of all, not necessarily true because Kiermaier bats from the left side, which instantly makes it more favorable to what
And
the
better
Yankees need right
offensively
now.
than Bader, by the way.
Yes. Oh, 100%, especially this year. But also, like, my problem with Bader was never Bader. It was kind of what I mentioned before. The Yankees had him batting 4th at times, 5th at times. I mean, if Bader was batting 9th and just doing the good defense, the speed, and like, at times we'll have a big moment, like, that would have been fine. Anyways, though, just to for those who aren't familiar with him, Kevin Kiermaier in his first year with Toronto, damn, he really did play a while in Tampa Bay. So from 2013 to 2022, he was with Tampa Bay. And then this past year, 268 average, 752 OPS, has 8 homers, stolen 13 bags, good defense in center field. Once again, bats on the left side. A little 1-year deal just to get you by. It has Yankees all over it. I would say out of
It
all those moves
does.
I just named, like I was very confident we'll end up with Kiermaier. And then, let's go around the diamond real quick. Then you could have, okay, your catcher, let's just say Austin Wells, first base Rizzo, third base Candelario or DJ, second base Glaber, shortstop Volpe, left field Soto, center field Kiermaier until Jason gets back, and right field Judge. I mean, that's already a much better team than what we're talking about right now.
Yeah, I
Obviously.
agree. Before we get into topic number 2, you mentioned his name, so I just got to say one
Yeah.
thing. Gleyber Torres.
Are you going to talk shit about him?
No, just the one thing. Did you see the play from the other day? I want to say it was the Cole game. almost positive. It was like the ninth inning, and Glaber tried to make like this Robinson Cano style play to end the game, and it ended up being like an errant throw or whatever.
Yeah.
It's stuff like that where I'm like, bro, you're not Cano. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's tough because now that play is just a part of Glaber's game.
Yeah.
Like anytime there's a ground ball up the middle, he's never going to plant. He's going to do that little off balance throw. And we've seen it work more than ever this year. But when it doesn't work, good God. And sometimes with Cano, it wouldn't work either. I mean, more often than not, it would. But yeah, no, it was ugly. It was ugly. I mean, that night,
Yeah.
bro, that would have been they would have had to put a net under the George Washington Bridge if we lost that one. Because that was like it was a nice little victory. And I was like, all right, and that's what I had with Monday's game. It was like, all right, I know we're eliminated. Let me just sit back and enjoy some Yankee baseball. And I was able to. But that one, if we blew that game, which we almost did,
And
that
by
may
the
have been,
way,
no, I may not have been back next year.
also that was kind of like the icing on the cake of the season for me. I mean, obviously I went to the game on Friday, Judge's 3 home run game,
Oh,
absolutely
that was the game you were
bonkers.
at.
Yeah, it was awesome. But that Thursday night game with Cole on the mound, it kind of just felt like, damn, bro, like he's actually winning Cy Young this year.
Yeah.
And it felt
No,
really
it's
good.
it's sealed up. Some are still suggesting Sonny could win it, but no. I mean,
There's
Cole
no
leads in
shot.
pretty much
No
everything.
shot.
He has the innings, he has the whip, he has the strikeouts, the
Yeah.
WAR. The Judge 3 homer game. Speaking of that, bro, my car, the Mazda, right?
Yes.
Mazda 6, 2005. It served me well. I paid $1,000 for it a few years ago, like 2019. It's done me well. Bro, I was driving home from Hoboken. Shit blew up on the parkway, steaming everywhere. So I experienced the Judge 3 homer game via WFAN radio in a tow truck. Shout out to my guy David who picked
Wow.
Mazda on the thing. I was running Yanks Ave from my phone, just doing the good old fashioned way of downloading clips off Twitter. And yeah, so that was my
Okay. No, you know what? No. Okay, this is something that like I've been thinking about the past couple days too. And I'm not trying to like give you like a kiss on the mouth, Dan. But I feel like you do not get enough credit for this dedication that you put into like Yankees Avenue, especially like Instagram, bro. Like the fact that listen, I don't know. I hope people are aware of this. You dedicate your life to making sure highlights are done, clips are going up on Instagram like 24/7, bro. And it's something that I don't think I could ever do. Like you dedicate your
I
life
love you.
to this season, to this team year in year out. And the
I'm gonna
like the fact
cry.
that you're bringing up like doing it in the tow truck, that's just like the icing on the cake for me,
I
bro.
love
It's
you,
it's
bro.
beautiful to see
That
from you,
made my
man.
fucking day. I really that
I'm glad.
there are a few compliments that would make me happier than you saying that. No, I
That's a
appreciate that, bro.
bro.
I
But I
appreciate that.
hope people fucking realize that, dude. Like you're sitting in a tow truck on the highway. The Yankees are already eliminated from the playoffs, but here you are. You're still throwing clips up on Instagram because that's your number one priority. Hell
I
yeah.
love you. Thank you, man. No, I appreciate that. And I wouldn't have it any other way.
Topic number two.
Yes. Yes. Topic number 2, please.
Yeah. So this was after the Yankees got eliminated on what day was it? Saturday.
Yeah.
Saturday. They got eliminated from postseason contention. And Aaron Judge was asked some questions after the game, kind of about where the season went wrong, yada, yada, yada. And I will say, we're going to play it right now, but it's one of my favorite Judge interviews of all time.
I think it's number 1. Here we go.
A lot of stuff going on around here that needs to be fixed. I'll tell you guys every year, I'm not standing here talking to you guys after a championship. It's a failure. Got a lot of work to do, a lot of internal talks, a lot of stuff we got to get figured out.
Do you plan on being part of those talks when it comes to what to do this offseason?
Oh, yeah, I got some ideas. But it's going to take all of us. It's going to be talking with everybody in the organization, all the way down through the minor league stuff, all the way up to the top.
That sounds like a frustrated man, bro. Legit. I mean, sometimes he puts on like the show, and similarities to Jeter and, kind of reserved. But that was he's frustrated, which is a good thing to see.
I will sit here and say that might be my favorite thing to come out of this season. Okay. Just seeing like pissed off Aaron Judge. And bro, I don't know, the vibes that he's given off are, I would say that they're even worse than what we see like after they get eliminated from the playoffs each year. You know what I mean? Because now this is like, dude, I don't even have a chance at winning it all this year.
Yeah. It's never happened to him before. This is the first time.
Yeah, he's very visibly frustrated. It's just refreshing to see. Obviously, he wants to take part in whatever discourse is going on this offseason in terms of what the Yankees should do, whether that's getting rid of Cashman, getting rid of Boone. I don't know. Bringing in Juan Soto. Clearly, Judge has ideas Clearly, he
Right.
has some sort of ideas in mind as to how the Yankees should improve this team. And I think he's number one that they should be listening to. Bro, fuck all the nerds in the analytics department being like, oh my God, like we need to go out and get yada, yada, yada for $1 million because they're a buy low, sell high option. Bro, fuck them because Aaron Judge is the way they should be going. Because at what point, like, because what have we said all season, right? It's a shame that the Yankees are wasting the primes of Cole and Judge. And I feel like obviously they're not GMs, they're not analytics geniuses, but I think at the end of the day, they're the guys on the field, they're the guys in the clubhouse, and I think they know what's best for the team. If Judge goes up to Hal or Cashman, whoever he's going to, and being like, yo, I think maybe we need some new leadership in the clubhouse. Maybe Boone just isn't that guy. And I know publicly he said the opposite,
Mm-hmm.
but if he does go out and say that, you change manager next second. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
Judge and Cole should be the two guys, the only two guys right now in the clubhouse, where if they approach the front office with any ideas at all, they should be followed.
Totally. No, 100%. And so on the topic of Boone and all that, I think what he says here and the seriousness in his voice and some pretty like the quotes are eye-catching gives more validity to what he said backing up Boone. I believe now Boone will, and we'll talk about this as kind of a spoiler, my bad. I don't think Boone's going to go anywhere because Judge really gave him, he was asked about a week ago, and the reporter, I forget who it was, said, like, you don't have to answer this if you don't want to answer. I understand. Like, would you want Boone back? And Judge was like, no, I want to answer that. Boone should come back. He's the guy. And he goes on gassing him up and all. And I firmly believe that a lot of the guys in the Yankee clubhouse don't think Boone's the problem. Now, what did Judge say at the end? He points out, like, yo, we got to start like asking questions or, finding out what's good from the bottom to the top. That was the last thing he said there. What does that mean? Brian Cashman? I'll tell you this. I don't think Judge, this isn't some big hot take, I don't think Judge loves Cashman. I mean, going back to even just the personal stuff with, not wanting to give him the money for the arbitration, which led to them almost going to an arbitration case. They ended up figuring it out. That probably didn't sit well with them. Of course, we know the story that, Cashman wasn't going to give Judge that 9th year. Hal had to intervene. If not for that, who knows where Judge is? Like, I don't think the relationship's great there, and I would not be shocked if he kind of puts it on him, Cashman. Not Boone, not anybody else, but like the front office overall. And I think of course, that's headed by the GM. I feel like this is at least the most you can get at a Judge, like the slightest, biggest diss you'll find Aaron Judge say about the Yankees front office. I think that's what this kind of was right here. Because, like there was a tone here, even in the beginning. Like, there's a lot of things going on around here that needs to get fixed. And when they asked him, do you plan on being involved in this? And he said, oh, I got some ideas. I was watching that interview in this very chair, holding on my phone. A shiver went through my spine. I was like, oh, because it was like sick. But it was like, okay, this is unacceptable. And we knew that it's unacceptable. We've been known it's unacceptable. But to really hear it from a Yankee player, especially, the captain, it's important to hear from him, but also like, we've never really seen this out of Judge in a way. We know he cares about winning. We know he's a very serious guy, all that. But this was different. Don't you feel that way? Like, this was a different attitude that we saw in this interview.
No, yeah, that's exactly what I said. I mean, like, just the visible frustration and kind of just like, yo, I'm done. You know what I mean? It's like I'm checked out.
Yeah.
But I think it's interesting what you said because I don't see a scenario where they potentially get rid of Cashman but keep Boone. I think that like I don't see how that makes sense at all. Because I feel like if you're gonna go all out and get rid of Cashman, bro, just bring in a new manager.
Right, you clean house entirely. Like, I don't think Cashman's going anywhere. I don't. But I do think there's heat
but
on him.
But if Judge suggests that Cashman needs to go and he's the problem, maybe some ears need to open there.
Well, I think, Cashman's job security can't be as high as it was a year ago. I know he's just one season in, but at this point, if I had to guess, unless the Yankees win the World Series in the next 3 years, knock on wood, maybe they will. Like, I wouldn't say Cashman's back in 3 years, the way things are going right now. Of course, there's still a lot of time left. But,
yeah, but will 3 years be too late?
I mean, right now we'll say that, yeah, but it's in the end, like, I'll still be a fan of the Yankees in 3 years. So it's like, same way right now, I'll hope for changes next year. Like, I'll hope in 2026 there's changes at the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but not in terms of us being fans. I'm saying in terms of if
wasting
we're
this core, very much could be, yes.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like right now, like it's kind of now, especially when you're looking at Judge and Cole specifically. Like, sure, we have some bright stars coming up. There's Spencer Jones, there's Dominguez, Volpe's still young, but when we're looking at the two superstars, two of the greatest players of our generation in their primes,
Two of the greatest players in Yankee
years,
history.
3 years might be too late.
No, absolutely. No, you're 100% right. And I think that's where, while Cashman may not lose his job this season, and I definitely don't think he will, there's heat on him now. And this will start off with the audit soon. I don't know exactly what this entails, but October 2nd, the day after the season, the audit's supposed to take place. And which, for those who don't know, is an outside company coming in and kind of analyzing everything the Yankees are doing, from the analytics to their injury management to, just pretty much how they run top to bottom. Outside company. I don't know. I mean, who's to say this outside company knows what they're doing either? But would this have happened if Hal did entirely trust Cashman the way he used to? I don't think so. Because if you trust your GM, you don't have somebody else come in and make sure it's like, if your relationship's going well, you don't go to therapy. You don't go to couples therapy. You know what I'm saying? So clearly something going on. I think we're in a good spot in terms of, a lot of people would say, you included, and I get it. I want the Yankees to bottom out, to get maximum change. I think we are going to get at least the maximum change possible from what this season was. May not be enough, but I think enough damage has been done. Enough poor things have been said. Enough or not enough fans in the stands. How about Monday? Holy crap. I know it was a rain up, but that was might as well have been the COVID season.
But did you see the announced attendance, by the way?
I know, which, that's always been BS. So yeah, but I feel like, we're set up for changes this offseason. You just hope it's going to be enough.
Yeah, no, you just have to hope that the changes that the Yankees make are substantial enough to reflect how much of a disaster this season was, right?
Yeah.
Because as much as of a disaster this season was, you need to now take that amount and reflect it into change. And whether or not that happens, time will tell. But it's very, very beautiful to see our captain, Aaron Judge, sit back and be like, yo, I got some ideas. That
was some captain shit. Captain shit.
You know what else is some captain shit?
FOCO.
Want to give a huge shout out to our sponsor, FOCO, FOCO. Bro, they have all the best merch in the game. Whether, you know what, at this point, maybe you're not wanting to buy some Yankee stuff. They have stuff though. They have bobbleheads, merch, clogs. I think they're called, not Crocs. Go check it out. But also, like we said, they have every other team out there: Jets, Giants, hockey, WWE. If you're into that, they got it all.
I think we're going to have to start talking about the NBA soon, bro. I mean,
I know.
I don't know if I can keep saying, oh, well, the Yankees suck. You can get some football things. I mean, Jets and Giants aren't exactly doing great either. That's very nice. I didn't get a pin, or at least I didn't get a Judge pin. I have a Glaber one. Crocs, you know the deal. Bracelet,
by the way,
the deal. Wall art, anything with the Yankee logo on it, you know the deal.
They sell FOCO stuff in Yankee Stadium. Did you know that?
I think I might know that. Yeah, I mean, they're officially licensed by MLB. It's all official stuff. NBA, NFL. Code Yankees Avenue, 15% off. Of course, it helps support the show, helps keep the lights on around here. And yeah, they definitely got something for you. Cool wall art. That's what I would recommend the most. I mean, I don't have it actually behind me because I'm not in Hoboken, which, by the way, I got to move out of Hoboken in this by the 30th, which is crazy. I'll have a new crib by the season. I kind of do that off season. I go back and then, anyways, get yourself something from FOCO. Help support the show. Get yourself something cool. And they've been us along the ride for a long time now. So they're real ones. They really have. And you guys all are too, watching at home.
Friendship bracelets, right? Because we're friends.
We are friends. We're best friends.
Yeah. I wonder if they have Phillies friendship bracelets.
I'm done.
They probably do, right? I should.
Of course they do.
Ask. Yeah, let me ask.
Shit, bro. We may have to have you send them or have them send you something.
Maybe you too.
Well, get out. No, hell no. I'd rather die. I'll never wear another team's colors. Fuck no.
I might have to include it in the gear package. All right, let's get into topic number 3.
Yeah, let's do this one quick.
Yeah, we touched on Aaron Boone a little bit, just a little touching.
Yeah.
And I guess now we could kind of reflect on his tenure as Yankees manager, because it's been quite a while now. We're talking about, 6 seasons in the books? 2018, 19, 20, 21, 22. Yeah, 6 seasons. Quick math. And let's ask 2 questions. 1, will he return as Yankees manager? And 2, should he return as Yankees manager?
Yeah, I'll answer this one quick because we did kind of touch on it. And this comes from him saying he has not been told whether or not he'll be back for 2024 yet. Will he return as manager? I'll say yes, he will. Should he return as manager? Why or why not? I'm going to pull a little bit of a cop-out answer here and give you I don't know. Because on one hand, I know this year is not Boone's fault, which I've said a lot. You could have had Casey Stengel come out of the grave and he wouldn't have managed this team to a playoff run. I don't think so whatsoever. So things aren't Boone's fault for why, shit spiraled. But on the other hand, a fresh face I think would be good. And I would like to get some sort of I don't know if pound of flesh is the word, or just something to show, what happened this year is not acceptable. And that would be the most obvious one of like, all right, a manager, that's the next thing you could do under firing a GM that is pretty substantial. But I do still lean towards the side of, it screams scapegoat to me. And like this would more so, I feel like, be for the wrong reason. So I think I lean no, actually, he shouldn't be fired. But I could easily be talked into that he should. Like if I were to see a thing like Boone's fired, I got a Twitter notification or X notification, I would have a slight sense of excitement just the fact of like, okay, we're switching shit up here. So sorry, I'm kind of playing both sides here. I try not to do that, but for this one, I kind of have to.
Yeah, I'm gonna say,
Yeah, I know
will
what
he
you're gonna
return
say.
as Yankees manager? No.
You don't think?
No, I don't think Aaron Boone is back as Yankees manager next year. I think it's one of those things where I think maybe we're underestimating the impact of this season. And I think maybe we're underestimating how serious Hal Steinbrenner might be taking this going into the offseason. And while the playoffs are going on, I think we're going to get that notification. Aaron Boone will not return as Yankees manager next year. And I think that that's going to be like the beginning of holy shit, this might be an offseason of change. And whether or not it actually is an actual offseason of change, that will be determined as time goes on. But I think firing Boone will be the perfect way to start things off. As we all kind of know, Cashman kind of feels like his job is secured. It would be nice to get rid of him too. And while getting rid of Boone is kind of a scapegoaty move, I think it's a move that feels necessary. I think it's a move that there isn't much argument in defense of keeping him. I know the players like him, but let's just be honest. Like, I feel like even if the players didn't like him, they wouldn't publicly say it.
Yeah.
And also it's just you can't really fight for the success of Boone. Like, what has he done in his Yankees tenure that screams success? What has he done where it's like you can really defend? Yeah, like, bro, we're talking about a manager that won a World Series 2 years ago. No, we're talking about a manager where his team hasn't even made the World Series in his tenure as Yankees
Yeah.
manager. So I think that will he return? No. And should he return? No.
No, I hear you. I on the will he return though. I just, one, Hal does like to do stuff like George and the Yankees. The most recent time they fired a season before their contract was up was Stump Merrill in the early 90s, and that was while George was away under suspension. Outside of that, in the Steinbrenner area, they've always had managers live out their or since the 90s, I should say, live out their contract. So I feel like with one more year left, I feel like they give it to him. I really do. I don't know.
Is it just 1 year?
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's just this last year because
I
21
thought it
he
was
signed
two.
that 3-year
Didn't he sign a
extension.
4-year deal?
I thought it was a 3-year extension. Let me check real quick.
Or was it Cashman that signed the 4-year deal?
Cashman was 4. I know that for a fact. Let me look up Aaron Boone extension real quick. Yeah, 3-year deal. So it's run through 22, 23, 24. Yeah, so man, I'm kind of being a shitty host in this one. I think my prediction is he comes back, and my take is I lean
Well,
towards
if he
should
comes
come back.
it's just the continuation of everything we've seen the past few years where it's just complacency. Let's just stick it one more year, see what happens, right? Like that's just what it feels
Yeah, but
like.
in the end, bro, the complacency to me comes with the roster, and he doesn't control the roster. It's not his fault.
No,
Like I probably would have batted Bader fourth too if I had to, yo. And like same with like he had Willie Calhoun and like Jake Bowers and Franchi Cordero. Like there's only so much you can really do with those, like assembling that roster of players into a lineup. And who gives him that roster of players? It's Cashman.
it goes
Like
beyond this season though. You know what I mean? Like
I don't think it's Boone's fault. I don't think he's been a perfect manager either, but I don't think he's what's went wrong with this core.
I'm
So I
not
kind of
saying
just
that
like,
either. But I do think that he's the leader of this core, right? Like he's the manager of the team. If your team has underperformed for the past 6 seasons, you have to look in the mirror at some point.
and it would send a message. It would send a
Yeah.
message. That's
A
why
huge
I would
message.
want to do it. Is just let you know like this isn't acceptable.
Yeah. But then the question arises, who do you replace him with? right? And there's plenty of options out there that the Yankees could go to, but I think that anybody you could bring on could just provide like a breath of fresh air, right? It's the same way bringing Sean Casey revamped the Yankees offense, right? I think that bringing a new manager can provide like a new spark in the clubhouse, bro. Like maybe people will actually be held accountable. Maybe we won't see base running miscues and defensive miscues because maybe whatever manager they bring in pushes
See, that's another
emphasis on that.
thing. Like, if you were to tell me like they'd bring in some old timey like
It
I
doesn't
don't
even have
know,
to be
like
that though.
no, I know, but I just feel like you're gonna get a carbon copy of what Boone is, and I think for what Boone is, he's pretty cool and pretty good. Yeah, no, dude, I think Boone comes back. I really do. That's like my final take on the thing. I think he comes back, and you just hope like he's given a better roster. Simple as that. Because in the end, it all
But
falls on
if
the
you had to
players. The
pick
players weren't
whether
good
he
enough.
comes back, yes or no, are you picking yes or no?
With Cashman back, Cashman's
Regardless.
back. Boone should be back. That's my take actually.
Yeah. Well, I disagree. I think both should be gone, to be honest.
Word, I'm cool with that.
Let's go into topic number 4. Topic number 4 is kind of fun. So Dan, since we last spoke, Austin Wells hits 2 big league home runs, his first 2 actually. And we talked about the starting catcher position going into 2024 a little bit because they have a little bit of a logjam, I guess. You have Trevino coming back from injury. You obviously have Wells now. You have Higashioka, and then you also have Rourke, who became kind of Garrett Cole's personal catcher in the second half of this
Yeah.
season. And I guess now looking at the competition, are we concerned at all that with Trevino coming back, assumingly healthy at the start of spring training next year, are we worried that he's going to take the starting position from Austin Wells?
I think Wells comes out of camp with it. I think we'll go into spring, nice competition, and you like to think Wells plays well. I gotta there's gotta be another way to do that.
I like that.
And I get nervous the whole Clint Frazier thing where Wells struggles out of the gate and then very quickly Trevino takes majority of the playing time. You can't do that. You have to give this kid a run because the possibility that you could have even a 750 OPS out of the catcher spot in the lineup next year. I mean, that would talk about changing the landscape of the lineup. That would do wonders. And that's kind of setting expectations. I mean, 750 would be amazing. Don't get me wrong. But Wells' ceiling is higher than that. I mean, this dude, all he's done. And by the way, the defense we've heard so much about, that was his issue. I haven't noticed anything bad. So far, at least a month in or whatever it's been, I think he's done a pretty damn good
if
job.
anything, his offense has been worse than his defense, I would say.
Sure, yeah. The offense hasn't been good. Which I mean, on both sides of the ball, it hasn't been long enough sample size to make a determination on any of this. But if he could hold his own defensively while having the upside of being like an 800 OPS catcher, I mean, that would be from the left side. That's one of those things, and that's a big if. You can't go into next year assuming that's what he's going to provide you, but one of the things you can be hopeful about: a good hitting season from your catcher who bats from the left side. I mean, that's a big piece of the puzzle towards fixing this lineup next year. So I think you got to go into 2024 with him in your head as, this is going to be the guy. If not, what do? You trade the dude. You got to decide with all these guys. We talk about all the time with Peraza, Pereira, same with Wells. Is he part of the future? Yes. Word. Okay. You start him. No, you trade his ass. Because if not, you're just going to plummet his value like the rest of the prospects. So,
yeah. No, I think Dan, you're really on a roll today because I think that was worded perfectly as well.
Thank you.
As well. No, I agree 1,000%. If he's not going into next season as your starting catcher with the job to lose, why is he on your team, right? Like, why is he even playing right now? At the end of the day, Garrett Cole gets to pick who his catcher is going to be. So if he doesn't like pitching to Wells, Trevino will be his personal catcher. That's fine. And I think as a platinum glove defender, sure, bro, they could split a lot of time, but I think majority of the time should be going to Austin Wells. He's your catcher of the future. I think as of right now, he's definitely the more threat offensively.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, bro, Wells has to be the guy going into next season. Bro, even if he's batting 116 in spring, I still want him to be the starting catcher on opening day.
If he has a couple of homers in the spring. I mean, he can't just totally shit the bed.
No, yeah, sure.
But
I was going to say,
it makes perfect sense. Zoom. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, let's just say end of April, he's batting 120 with 2 home runs. Yeah, maybe you start to give Trevino a little bit more time. But I think at least to start off the season, I'd like to see Wells be your starter.
Yeah, no, for sure. You got to give him some run. Like, I think same way I talked about with Volpe, like at least I would say give Wells through Memorial Day if he's going to be your guy. And with the off days, I mean, you could work it out perfectly. I remember talking about this like with Sonny Gray when he needed a personal catcher with Gary. Everyone made it seem like the biggest deal in the world. Like, oh, you need Romine to catch Gray. You need Romine to catch Gray. Like, yo, with catchers, that shit's so easy, man. I mean, they don't play every single day. There's no way you're going to have Wells start every single game. So just have his off day. If you need to, center around Garrett Cole. Like, okay, Trevino will catch Cole. Wells, you'll play the other 6 days a week. There'll be no issue there. And I'll say, yo, like, that then becomes a really nice backup catcher. Trevino as a backup catcher, yo, like, fuck yeah, I'll take a platinum glover off the bench. Word. So
No, agreed.
it makes total sense. And I like to think the Yankees are going to listen to us, Pat, because it's a no-brainer. Wells is your guy next year. Yeah.
And this is kind of off topic, but it just popped in my head.
Word.
I saw a clip on Twitter probably yesterday. It was the Oswaldo home run in Cleveland last year in the ALDS where like
Badass.
he pimped it. And I was looking back and I was like, yo, that feels like 5 years ago because at that moment I viewed Oswaldo Cabrera as like an absolute threat, right? Like I viewed him as holy shit. Like, yo, this guy might hit 25 next year. Like offensive weapon. He plays everywhere defensively. And now it sucks because I view him as kind of just like a nothing, bro. And I know like his stats have kind of improved offensively over the past couple months or so, but I don't know, dude. Like it's such a far cry from last season.
Yeah, and I think maybe we got a little ahead of ourselves because, to be fair to Waldo, like he was never a top 10 guy in the Yankees system. He, struggled a lot last year, which people forget offensively, and then really picked it up the last couple of weeks to make his stats look like decent. Had a solid spring. I mean, that homer, bro.
I mean, it was
like, that might be like
unreal.
the highlight of the post, even though we ended up losing that game. One of the worst days of my life. Some may remember.
Do you remember
Instagram
our
Live.
phone call that night?
Oh yeah, I remember all of it, bro. I remember calling you, like we were like borderline in tears, bro. Like I remember being on Instagram Live. I was fucking, maybe you weren't in tears, but I literally cried on Yankees Avenue live stream. It was nuts. But
I remember that.
dude, that Waldo homer was sick. I just think and Waldo, he's still young enough to where he's made some adjustments the last couple weeks and he does look a little bit better. Like he could have a role next year on the bench, but that's what it has to be. I mean, you can't, and that's where the difference between like signing, like going to get Kevin Kiermaier is the difference between you probably wouldn't have, like, if you don't get Kiermaier, that means you could have Waldo starting every single day, even if you go out and get like Soto or something like that. So it's those little moves still make a big difference. Like I understand, okay, maybe fans aren't in love with Kiermaier, but would you rather Waldo? No. So off the bench, I think he's fine, but you can't have the dude starting. We agree on that.
Yeah. No, bro, this kind of feels like this was good therapy to kind of reflect on the regular season. It's kind of weird because the regular season still isn't over yet. Like we still have a week of games or so.
It's over, especially now that we're on the road. Like final home series is done. We got Toronto for 3. We got Kansas City for 3.
I think I'll still be watching.
We have a Cole start left. We have a Cole start left, and then Judge is fun to watch.
One more Cole start until his Cy Young win, which is very, very exciting.
It'll be against Toronto. And how about Michael King, man? We haven't talked about
huge shout out.
Yes. Yeah, dude. He first Yankee pitcher to strike out 12 batters, which ended up being 13 against Toronto. Nasty. Overall, I mean, like shit, he's changed my mind. I'll kind of like take the L on that a little bit. I mean, you were on it from the get-go. You said you were about him in the rotation, but now I'm official. Like
I don't think I said that.
No, you did. You were technically, you said you were you would take him in the rotation next year, I believe.
Oh, okay. Well, if I did,
you're
shout
right.
out to me.
I was like, fuck no, he's a reliever, keep it that way. But now, it's like I said at the time, once he hits the 5-inning mark, it's like, okay, this is tangible to me now. He hit the 6 and like 2/3 inning mark the other day against Toronto. So, and against that lineup too, I mean, damn.
No, I'm convinced fully, and I think going into next season with him in the starting rotation is huge, bro. Like especially
the pitch mix, like it makes sense. He has four plus pitches. Like it would make sense that he could be a starter.
Yeah, I wasn't completely sold on it until I saw that performance. I'm like, yo, this guy could be an actual threat. So I'm excited.
Even like I think people who even were like, yo, give him a shot. Like he may be a legit starter. I think everybody, even if you're on the side of him making the rotation, saw that Toronto start and was like, okay, it may not just be a thing of he could start in the big leagues. He may be a damn good starter in the big leagues. Like you may look at a rotation next year to where, bro, Michael King is starting a playoff game in a rotation of Cole, Rodon, Yamamoto, and King's your 4. I mean, very early, I'm kind of getting excited about it.
Yeah.
Did we make the playoffs next year, by the way? Did we make the playoffs next year? Gun to your
Um,
head.
yeah, I mean, it all really depends on what they do this offseason. Like, but if I had to pick right now, like not knowing what they do this offseason, I'm gonna say no. I
I would
mean, they
say
really have to go all out.
I think the way I see it is if you took this current team right now, ran it back, I think some things ideally would go a little bit better your way into where you'd like contend for a wild card team or for a wild card spot. Maybe be like I think this is a true 87, 88 win team with a high ceiling of like 91 wins, which once again is not good. That's not what we
I think
strive for as
that's
Yankees
really
fans.
generous. And we're talking about a team with like
Hold
one
on, hold
starting
on.
pitcher.
That doesn't happen though. Like I'm talking like the ceiling, the peak, like more often than not, shit will go south. So you're gonna, good off season. I don't think we're like the Orioles are gonna win the division next year. I believe what I'm saying is I think we're like a fringe wildcard team, which isn't a comment. Once again, I think we're a fringe wildcard team right now at true health, like with a healthy Jason, with Judge never missing time. Maybe if Stan bounces back a little bit, Rizzo never gets hurt. But if you want to solidify that, obviously you got to have a crazy offseason. So I'll say yes, I think there will be changes, but it's very possible that we miss again. But
Yeah.
that's,
And
I guess,
it's
kind of early to
also
say now.
it's very early to say, but it's kind of wild because you brought it up. Like the Orioles became a perennial 100 win team overnight, and it's kind of weird.
Yeah, I don't celebrate them really at all. Like, congrats, you tanked. Same with the Astros, you tanked. Like, of course it's
Yeah,
gonna
but
happen.
no,
And
I still think
some of the
that
guys, like Gunnar Henderson was like we could have drafted him. I think he was drafted after Volpe. So I'll give it credit some regards. But I mean, everything changed when Adley came into play, and of course that was a first overall pick. I mean, Jackson Holliday, who's like the most talked about prospect in baseball and is going to be gassed up for years to come. I mean, he came from tanking. So I mean, I'm
I
not going to
know,
say
but no, but even I'm not a huge fan of tanking, but also at the same time, like you have to acknowledge, even by tanking, it doesn't guarantee that you're going to be good afterwards. Like obviously, we've seen some cases that worked out very successfully, whether that's the Astros or the Cubs.
Cubs.
But bro, there's also other instances of tanking where
Royals. Yeah,
prospects
no,
aren't guaranteed to work out. You know what I mean?
for sure. But I hear you, and I'm not saying they should be like roasted per se. Although I probably would. Tanking's whack. Like I don't celebrate them at all. Like, of course you're good now. Like that's how it works. Like that's what the system is set up to do. And you took advantage of this system, first overall picks, and just constantly and like they don't ever spend money. This doesn't really come from crazy acquisitions. It's not like they've drafted well. Congratulations. Like that's what I'll say to them. And a large part of that is because they tanked. What have they done besides that? They made like great trades, great free agent signings.
They got Aaron Hicks.
Who's been great for them. No, like they've had, I mean, like getting like Felix Bautista, who I believe was an international signing, like stuff like that. And Cano, I mean, they've had nice little moves, but they ain't getting my praise. And
Shout out to the Orioles.
that shit can fade away quick. Like they better hope they have a good offseason themselves. Yo, Feo hit me up on this could be a topic 5 actually, real quick. Unless you had one, but Feo hit me up with a question. I want to present it to you.
Sure.
Jordan Montgomery's a free agent this season. Would you give him a deal?
No, I don't think it's necessary. I also
I
don't
don't
like
think so
him.
either. I know. I don't know if Feo knew that ahead of
Yeah.
time, but yeah, Pat's not a big Jordan Montgomery guy. I wouldn't know because I mean he's gonna fetch probably at this point. Like he may get near 100 mil, and you don't need another left-handed starter. I don't think. I mean, if you're banking on Nestor coming back, you'll have Verdone, you'll have Nestor, and I'd rather just get Yamamoto. So
Yeah, no, agreed.
I'm good off Monty.
But also before we wrap things up, can we just address what you mentioned in the beginning of the show? You said you were mad about one of my tweets.
Yes, dude, you're going so hard with the Phillies crap.
How is that going hard?
It's concerning. It's suspect. It's suspicious to me.
Are we thinking of the same tweet where I said, "Oh, now that the Yankees are eliminated, this only means one thing," and then it's the GIF of Bryce Harper with the Phillies? Okay.
Yeah. There's a little too much passion behind your Philadelphia pride. And I'm not saying that like you got to tone it back. If that's how you feel, that's how you feel. Word. I want you to do that.
You know what it is?
You're not the same, me and you, Pat.
Let's say you're in a highly toxic relationship, right?
Been there.
And then like you're kind of on the brink of breaking up for quite a few months, but then you finally break up. And then
I literally just
going
happened
out
2
on the
days
town,
ago.
bro.
What?
And then you're going out on the town, bro. Aren't you excited to go out on the town, mingle, meet new people?
No.
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 Okay.
I'd be sitting in my bed crying over the Yankees. I want them back.
I'm very, very excited to watch postseason baseball this year. The Phillies are my rooting interest, I do not see a problem with that at all. I love Bryce Harper, and I hope so badly he wins a ring this year.
This is going to be so bad, but I have to say it. Christine, excuse my French. You're a fucking whore, bro. You just are. You are a fan. You are the town fucking, I can't say it again, W word of fandom. That is crazy. You're sleeping around. Yeah, no, you're sleeping around. You're inviting everybody over to see what sticks. For all I know, bro, Phillies win the World Series. You might be so bought in that you're doing a Phillies Avenue show with somebody next year.
That's insane. That's wild. No, I still do not see a problem with that. Having a rooting interest because I like a player on a team and also the team itself.
That's not what you're doing. That's not what you're doing. You are going a little bit extra hard with it. It's not just, and I get that, yo. Like if Gary and if the Padres in the playoffs, like I would root for them because I want Gary to do well. But like I wouldn't be tweeting out about them. I wouldn't be going to their games. I mean, listen, I really want it to come across like you do you, obviously. This isn't that big a deal. But in terms of fandom, I can never get it.
It would be so different if the Yankees were in the playoffs as well. The Yankees are not even coming close to the playoffs. There's nothing Yankee related that I can invest myself into for the next month. So if I wanted to dedicate myself and become a temporary fan of the Phillies and be like a foster home for a little bit, like I don't see an issue
in a foster home, bro. We go down.
Because at the end of the day, who am I coming home to? Who am I coming home to at the end of the day? The Yankees Avenue Show.
No matter what. Yeah. Hey, bro. That's
who I'm coming home to, bro.
We're
in an open relationship right now, and that's fine. I'm gonna go out, have some fun in Philadelphia, and I'm gonna come back, and no one's gonna have to know anything.
You got to learn some loyalty, Pat.
Loyalty to who? They're the ones who left me. They're gone. They said, "Oh, have your fun because I'm not good enough." So you know what? If you're aware that you aren't good enough, and if you aren't good enough to be in my life, I'm gonna replace you temporarily until you are.
As far as I'm concerned, every other team, all 29 other teams, are the enemy. And what do I always say? Shout out to Ray Kroc. If my opponent were drowning, I'd stick a hose in their mouth. And that's how I feel. It's Yankees or die. They're my team forever. The rest of them, they could all burn and die for all I care.
That's just not nice. I'm a fan of the sport of baseball, and I love postseason baseball.
Pat, I would kill a man to see the Yankees win the World Series.
I wouldn't do that.
And part of me isn't joking. Like I probably wouldn't do that, of course, but that's the way I feel inside.
No, you would.
And with that, I think we got to get out of here. Yo, good show today, my man. That was a good one. It's been a little bit. Week off. And yo, off season, we're gonna be doing one a week.
Oh, we agreed on that.
I thought that was the plan. I mean, yeah.
Well, that's what I said, and you were like, "No, last year we did 2 a week."
No, but I think for the channel that would make sense, and also just 1 a week for the offseason really could be good. I don't think we did that last year though. That was the whole thing. We definitely did twice a week last year, but yeah, and there's just some other more stuff to figure out too. But yo, good shit. Socials, where can they find you?
TikTok, Twitter @UnhingedPatrick, Instagram @TrueHennessy.
Who's texting me? Dan on Rourke on Twitter, Dan on Rourke on Instagram, Yankees Avenue on Instagram, Yankees Avenue here on YouTube. Shout out to Foco. Guys, go get yourself some. Code Yankees Avenue, 15% off. This rain has to stop. Like, I literally hear it's got to burst through my windows.
Rain,
the wind.
Rain, go away.
Come again another day. All right, yo. We'll, Judge is on our Zoom screen. Pat gets so pissed because Judge is just hanging out on our Zoom screen.
It's so dumb.
No, it's fucking great. It's called Showbiz. All right, we'll see you guys next time. Let's go, Yankees. I'm not recording. Oh, no. Just kidding. Bye-bye.
Her body's going like September. She burns through the night like an ember. And all those things we try forgetting, I remember. But we say we all fine,